What is good, teacups? We're back at it again, and on this episode we're gonna be making another Bahamian-inspired recipe. Y'all probably sick of this by now, but guess what? I'm not sick of this. I'm still mentally in the Bahamas. One of my favorite meals that I had when I was out there was the fried snapper, peas and rice, fried conch, you know, plantains, cabbage, all that good stuff. So I want to make a snapper and peas and rice dish. In no way, shape, or form am I claiming that what I'm making right now is Bahamian food. But like I said, it's inspired by it. The recipe is gonna be down below in the deets. Give me a thumbs up. Tap in with me, guys. Don't forget to get at me on Instagram. Subscribe to my channel, and yeah, that's it. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, we're gonna prepare our fish. I'm gonna grab some gloves. I have two different fishes here today because when I originally went to the first market, they didn't have my red snapper. They only had this bream, which was, you know, you could use this too, why not? And yeah, they only had this, but then when I went to my Filipino market, they had my red snapper, so I ended up getting it there. Now I have two options. I like to cut the fins. That's just me. I like to cut the fins. I like to cut the tail down just a tad bit. Any of these guys, these spiky spikes, I like to cut down too. And then I'm gonna repeat the same to the other side. So the next step, I'm just gonna create some slits in the fish. Some pretty deep ones too, actually. Just like that. On both sides. So I got some slits on both sides. I'm gonna do the same thing with this bream. You're gonna season your fish how you like it. I'm just gonna go ahead and just sprinkle that all over the fish. And up in the middle of the cavity as well. Same Z's to the bream. Get it all up in there in the cavity. And I'm seasoning heavily. I'm just gonna take the fish and do a toss of the flour and make sure it's nice and floured like this. So that looks good. I'm gonna do the same thing with the other fish. These pans are both very freaking hot. Might be a little too hot, but I think we'll be okay. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of thyme inside the cavity of each fish. If you guys know and you guys watched a bunch of my episodes, you know that this freaking burner on this side is so weird. Like, I don't understand why it gets like that. I might have to move this to this side, even though I really didn't want to do that. 2 in 1. I had a little too much color on this. Okay. I'm gonna add some butter. So I'm gonna take this fish off and place it onto my sheet tray. Try to get a little bit more color on this one before I pop them in the oven. I'm really trying to get an even color on the other side. I'll take this. Okay, so I took the snappers and I flipped them over so that the pretty side is obviously facing us. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of butter and then a few more sprigs of thyme just on top. I'm also gonna take 1 bay leaf and tear it in half and pop it inside the cavity of both of the fish. And then I'm gonna take our fish and then I'm gonna finish them in the oven. So now we're just gonna do a really standard chopping of all the vegetables for the fried rice. We're just gonna chop all this stuff up. We're gonna chop it and dice it into small dice. Pretty standard, no big deal. I will be right back when all this stuff is cut up. Okay, so now that I've chopped all of the stuff for the fried rice, we have bell peppers, we have tomatoes, we have onions, celery, and garlic. We're gonna throw some pigeon peas in there as well, and some tomato paste and some other seasonings like brown seasoning. Pretty much I'm just taking all the ingredients that they use to make peas and rice, but I'm making a fried rice instead because I think the texture of fried rice is something that's close to home for me, and I love fried rice. So I'm gonna set all of this aside, and then I'm gonna make the pineapple salad kind of vibe. Pretty much just took the top and bottom off of the pineapple, and then I'm just gonna clean it up and remove the outside of the pineapple. And then I'm gonna show you guys how I break it down so I can put it into small dices. Okay, so once you have your pineapple cleaned on the outside, I pretty much just like, I see the core here and I kind of cut around the core. So since I'm gonna dice it, I take it into planks, kind of just up until I get to the core. So now I just take the pineapple planks and I slice them down like this until they're all into strips. So once they're all into strips, I just cut them down like this. I'm probably not gonna make all of this pineapple salsa. I'm gonna save some pineapple for snack. I'm gonna take some cilantro, and then I'm just gonna chop down. Don't worry if there's a little bit of stem in there, because stems are good. Chop it the other way, like this too. Pop it in with the pineapple. I'm gonna take our chili. I'm gonna slice our chili into thin rounds. Pop that up in there. Pop it, pop it. And then I'm gonna take a spoon. I'm gonna give this a toss around. Then I'm gonna take some limes. I'm gonna juice the limes up in there. Now I'm gonna add some salt up into the mix. And it looks boring to me, so I did have a little bit of cabbage left over. So I'm just gonna core the cabbage, remove the outer leaves of the cabbage. And I'm just gonna slice the cabbage down. Pop a little bit in there. Let's give it a taste. Woo! I'm mad at that. It's gonna be a great condiment for everything. Everything's gonna play together really nicely. So I'm gonna let this marinate and marry and get really sexy in the corner. So in this pot here, I have some day-old rice that I cooked last night with a little bit of bay leaf, scallion, some thyme, some garlic. I'm gonna use this to make our fried rice. I'm just picking out all the aromatics. All right, so I might have to do my rice in 2 batches just because of the fact that I don't have my wok right now and this pan might be too small. So I started by heating a little bit of oil into this pan here. Next, I'm gonna add some onions and celery. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato paste. And cook this down. Now I'm gonna add some tomato. A little bit of garlic. I'm gonna scoot this all over to the side here. And on this side, I'm gonna add my rice. Now I'm gonna do my best to break as much of the rice clumps up. Now I'm just gonna mix everything together. And it's really important for me after I finish adding all of this stuff in here to let this cook undisturbed so that it gets really, really crispy and crunchy. So now I'm gonna add some bell pepper. I'm gonna add my brownie. I'm gonna add a little bit of our pigeon peas. I'm gonna give this a toss. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. And I'm going to start to fry everything so that it gets all crunchy and crispy. Okay, so now I'm flipping it. That crunch that I was looking for, that texture is happening. So I'm gonna move it around, and then again, I'm gonna leave it undisturbed for a few moments. Okay, so now I'm flipping it. That crunch that I was looking for, that texture is happening. Again, I'm gonna leave it undisturbed for a few moments. All right, y'all. You hear that? That's crunch. That's texture. Woo! And then my fish just finished cooking, so that's good. Everything is right on time. I'm gonna let this do one more final crisp and crunch, and then we're gonna plate it up. We're plating it up. I'm gonna take some of that crunchy rice on the bottom. Honestly, in the Bahamas, they give you so much food on your plate. It's literally like this much rice, so. There you go. Fish is out of the oven. Looks amazing. Good old piece of snapper on there. Like that. Just gonna top it with a little bit of pineapple slaw. Like that. Then after that, I'm gonna garnish it with a little blend of micro cilantro, micro rainbow mix, cause love that. Italians. There it is. There it is, y'all. This is my Bahamian-inspired snapper dish. A big ol', this is how they serve you, so that's how I'm serving you. Lots of food on the plate. This is good for like 2 days or 2 people. Alrighty, let's dig in. Wow. And I'm gonna take a bite. Sweet, spicy, fresh. Fish is cooked perfectly. I literally just flew back to the Bahamas. Tasting this hot sauce. Amazing. I'm gonna grab a little bit more rice, because the rice is really so good. The texture of the rice is amazing. The flavor, the texture. Just a little bit more fish. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm ready to eat, I'm ready to dig in. I'm about to mess it up with my hot sauce. And tap in with me, let me know what you guys think. And until next time, peace, love, and blessings.